This is homework 6.4, the first day. This is when we start to get into the real world problems and work them out that way. It says Ellen had 25 hair clips, 7 of them were blue, and the rest were purple. What percent of the hair clips were blue? Okay, so you got to take your original starting, which is 7 blue out of 25 total. So you put 7 over 25 and you set that equal to 100. That makes it the easiest. And if you look, this is always going to be percent over 100 if you're trying to make a percentage. So 25 goes into 100 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. What percent of the hair clips were purple? Well, if you did 27 minus 7, you get 18. So we know that 18 of the hair clips are purple out of 25. So 18 25ths equals how many 100ths, or what percentage? It's going to be 72%. Gabriel had $60. He spent $36 on a pair of shoes and the rest on a shirt. What percent of the money did he spend on the pair of shoes? Take 36 over 60, because we did 36 on the shoes and 60 total. Then I divided them both by 12, because that's the greatest common factor that goes into them both. I get 3/5. Then I set it equal to 100. Now, you guys are all on these calculators and whatnot, so you could have done 36 60ths equals how many 100ths, and if you crisscross divide that, you're still going to get 60 100ths, which seems a little off, so let me check that. It's right. If you look at this, you do 60 times 60, you get 3,600, and 100 times 36 is 3,600, so they're going to be equivalent. It's just another way of looking at it. This one, we have 24 60ths. The reason why we have 24 over 60 is because you take 60 minus 36 and you get 24 out of 60. I reduced down to 2/5 because it was easier for me. And then I multiplied both by 20 and we get 40 over 100. Again, you could have gone 24 over 60 equals how many 100ths. If you crisscross divide that, it would still come out to be the correct answer. Next, Miss Pierce bought a camera that cost $450. In addition, she had to pay 4% sales tax. How much did Miss Pierce pay for her camera? Now, when we get to tax, that's actually adding on to the cost. So if you take the total cost of $450, that would be 100%. But we're adding an additional 4%. That's where we get 104% for the tax. Now, when you look at this, it says, what is 104% of 450? That's basically what it's asking. So we do our is over our of equals our percent over our 100. We don't know what the is this time, but we do know that we're trying to find a percentage of 450. So you take 104, multiply it by 450, you divide it by 100, and you get $468. A good tip to remember, guys, is that anytime you're using a tax, your price should go up when you're done. Okay, so your price will always be larger. 468 is larger than 450, so it's a good way to check it. Mr. Osmond bought a computer that cost $2,500. How much did he pay for the computer if the sales tax rate was 7%? Well, that's really asking, we're taking an additional 7% on top of 100% because it's a tax. So it's 107% of 2,500. So what is 107% of 2,500? We can crisscross divide. Here's all the work. You're allowed to use a calculator, and I really hope you are, but you still have to show what you're doing. You can end up with 2,675. Again, it's a tax, so the price should be going up. And 2,500, 2,675 looks good. Next question. There are 320 girls and 180 boys at a playground. What percent of the children were girls? Well, first you have to find the total number of children. So we take 320 plus 180, you get 500. Now they're asking for the percent of girls. So 320 over 500 equals, and I just reduced it down here. If I was smart, I would have done 320 over 500 equals how many 100ths? You divide both by 5, divide by 5, you're still going to get 64. Or again, you can crisscross divide, whatever works for you. Ella collected 50 bottles to recycle. Of the bottles she collects, 19 are plastic and the rest are glass. What percent of the bottles are plastic? So we start with 19 out of 50, set it equal to 100%, her percent over 100, and we didn't know what the percent was. So we multiply 50 times 2, you get 100. 19 times 2, you get 38%. That's correct. What percent of the bottles are glass? I did 50 minus 19. You get 31 over 50, which if you multiply both the numerator and the denominator, you get 62 over 100, or just 62%. A salesperson receives a 5% commission on the sale of each car. If the commission on the car was $490, what is the price of the car? So $490 is 5% of what? It's saying that the commission, 5%, is equivalent to $490. So if you look, $490 is equivalent to 5%, and we know the percent is always over 100. So now we have to find our of this time. So crisscross divide, you're going to end up with $9,800. Now what the book does is they say, all right, there's 5% is equivalent to $490, even though I used an arrow here. So what would 1% equal, or what is almost the unit rate percentage if you're thinking of it that way? So you take $490 and you divide it by 5 and you end up with 98. So each 1% is worth 98. Then you take that 100 and multiply it by 98 and you get $9,800. So another way of looking at it, I prefer this way. You're going to have to do what you're most comfortable with. Number 3, Miss Jola has a budget of $1,000 to buy a television set. The price of the television set she wants to buy is $950. Does Miss Jola have enough money to purchase the television set given that the sales tax is 7%? Explain your reasoning. So first of all, we got to figure out how much this TV cost after the sales tax. So what is 107% of 950? Again, remember, when you're doing tax, it's going to be 100 plus that 7, so it's 107% because you're including all of the 950 plus an additional 7%. And you crisscross divide here, and you end up with $1,016.50. The answer to that is going to be no. She doesn't have enough money because the price of the TV is $1,016.50, and she only has 1,000. You're going to have to write that out in your own way. That's it for today. Hope this helps. Have a good one.